proverbial spring cleaning. It's funny because that's on my agenda for today. My wife put that on our agenda because she knows I run my life on my calendar. So if I didn't fill up, if my calendar has any openings, it's going to go towards business typically, or something along those lines. So she put on the calendar, right? Like Memorial Day spring cleaning. Like there's things I need to do in the garage and things. So that when I heard that, it also resonated because I'm going through some spring cleaning today. But regardless, proverbially, what he's talking about is maybe there are some areas and some things in your life where we need to clean it out, right? We need to change maybe the way that we're thinking about some of the things. Like again, giving the example of walking in the closet, there's some things that you have that you hold on to, thoughts, feelings, people, situations, emotions. There's things we hold on to as human beings that in this season of your life no longer fit you. They no longer fit. He gave examples. There's some dreams that maybe you had that no longer fit. Maybe there's some dreams that now do fit you that you maybe got rid of or right you haven't put on in a while, as he said. But this is time for us to really think, what are some things that I need to take out of my life? What are some things that I've been holding on to for way too long? And it's no longer going to serve me in the life that I'm trying to head towards. This takes real time. Like it's often we don't take time to slow down and think about these things, and slow down and take a deep dive into where we are, into how we're thinking. You know, I always say, if you change your thinking, you change your life. So, are there some belief systems you have that are holding you back from becoming the man or woman you need to be? That's typically where it starts. We might just not be aware of it, but there's probably some thoughts that served you at some point. They served you in your 30s. They served you in your 20s. There's a belief pattern that you had that now at this stage of your life, you're like, yeah, I don't know if I believe that anymore. I don't know if that belief is still helping me get to where I want to go. So then I know I have to change it. That takes real maturity to say. And again, we should be able to do this for us that want to go off and design our ideal life. You want to have this life you don't need a break from. You want to be able to thrive in life. You want to have life exactly where you want it in your health, in your finances, in your business, in your relationships, in your spiritual life. You want life exactly where you want. There's things that you want. So we have to stop and take an inventory of where we currently are and what are some things that we need to remove out of our life in order to get there. Those are the blind spots. Those are the things that we have to spend some time thinking about. We can't just constantly be on the go and constantly moving and constantly doing because you're actually just repeating similar things, similar habits, similar thoughts, similar patterns. Like it's just, we're habitual creatures. We do things by habit. You guys that have been on these calls long enough know your brain is there just to protect you. It's not going to push you to do the scary thing. It's not going to push you to do the uncomfortable thing. It's not going to push you to do the fearful thing. Your brain is there to protect you. So you will always, if you just listen to yourself instead of talk to yourself, if you just listen to what you want, like you're always going to do the thing that's the path of least resistance, the thing that's least scary, the thing that takes you away from the fear, the things that takes you away from the things that are the most uncomfortable. That's the way we operate. But the best part is you get to change that. You get to change your thinking. You get to change how you are processing things. So that Ed Milet little snippet there, I just want us to reflect on that. What are some things that we need to remove? This is spring cleaning time, emotionally, mentally, physically, right? Like there's some things that need to be cleaned out of your life. And maybe you've been too scared to do them. Maybe you haven't wanted to have that important conversation. Maybe you've been skating around it. And maybe that's the thought. Maybe those are the things you got to get rid of in order to actually open up and get to the life that you want. And like you said, if you go back in and you start evaluating some things, maybe there's some things that are just deep in the closet that actually you should put on now that actually do look good, that actually do feel good. Maybe you went through a season where it didn't feel good to do that thing or to, think in that certain way. And now you're going to revisit that and you're like, man, why did I ever stop doing that? Why did I ever stop wearing that? Why did I ever stop going down that path? Maybe those are some areas you got to pay attention to. But whatever the areas, ladies and gentlemen, you got to know this is the process of getting to your ideal life, getting to the highest, grandest expression of yourself. You're living below your potential. You're living below what God has called you to be. And so you have to now change. You now have to change your thinking. And again, we talk about this. How do we change our thinking? We consume new things. You become what you think. You become what you think. So whatever your thoughts are is who you are becoming. So maybe we can change the way we think in a couple areas. Those of you that are the OGs around here, I used to do this every once in a while. You guys get a chance to see me Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When we first started these, it was just every Wednesday and Friday. I never did Mondays until I got convinced to do Mondays. And every once in a while, I'd be out on the road. I'd be moving around, so I wouldn't have access to good Wi-Fi or jumping on the computer or whatever the case is. So I used to just pull up these memes or these kind of static images or things I would see on social media. Again, I've been in this personal development journey for probably close to a decade now. So I've constantly been feeding myself things that are helping my mind. Remember, I've said this to a lot of you. Many of you want to get ahead financially. Like that is a major crux in your life of like I need to build my financial life. Well, again, mentor of mine would always say, Chris, your money only grows to the degree that you do as a person, to the degree that you do as a human being. That you can't out earn your identity. And so once I understood that, once I changed my thing, once I had a different thought, like, I never knew that before. I never knew that your money only grows to the degree that you do. I never knew that I can out earn my identity. Now I have this new thought. Now I take new actions. And so those new actions that I took were constantly consuming things that were changing who I was, changing how I thought, changing how I acted and what I believed I needed to be doing. I just consumed more things. And so I used to see it on my phone all the time because that was all that's on my feed. I know some people on their social media feeds, it's a bunch of garbage. It's a bunch of stuff that they actually don't want to see. And then all of a sudden they stay away from it. I just learned how to control my feed. So this is the type of stuff that pops up all the time. Videos and pictures about how I'm changing my mindset. So I used to do this for you guys on this call. I used to just swipe through a bunch of the things that I saw that week. But this one was in my screenshots on my phone. Probably over the past couple weeks, I saw this, and it says 20 sentences in 60 seconds that will change your life. And the thesis of these calls is if you change your thinking, you change your life. So a lot of these are new thoughts you might need to have, or things that you can say to yourself to remind yourself to think differently. And I wanted to share some of these with you because I think they're going to help. They're going to resonate with some of you. Start at the top and we'll get through whatever we can. First one says your new self will cost you your old self. Your new self will cost you your old self. I hope you understand that when we talk about comfort zone, you might be comfortable with your old self. You might be comfortable with your old self. But if you want a new version of you, that means you have to give up the old version of you. Back to that spring cleaning message. Maybe you've been holding on to an old self longer than you need to, and it's time to get to your new self. But you're scared to let go of that old self because you don't know what the new self looks like. You know very much so what your old self is like. You know what triggers you. You know what hurts you. You know what makes you happy. You know what you like to watch. You know what you like to do. Like that's your old self. But your new self might be completely different. You might not like those same things. You might not want those same things. You might not know who that person is. But are you willing to give up that old self to get to your new self? You start thinking about these things, right? Again, these are things that start to change your life. It says ambition without action becomes anxiety. Ambition without action becomes anxiety. If you have a high level ambition, but you never act on it, you just talk about it. There's no action behind your ambition. There's no push, no drive. That is what leads to the discomfort, the anxiousness, is because you know you should be doing something that the vision towards the vision that you have, and you're not moving in that direction. So let's make sure we're taking action. It says you get 4,000 weeks if you're lucky. Stop waiting. Again, sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. Do you have a sense of urgency, or is it going to be whenever that time comes, or when it happens, or down the line, or when I'm ready, or when the time is right, or all these sayings we say that pushes off our goals and dreams and the things that we want? Remember, you have a limited amount of time here on this earth. We all do. So we got to stop waiting. We got to keep moving. Again, this is a message for us, the people that want to go change our life. This isn't the message for the average person. They're going to reject these messages naturally. But for us, we got to know this is about learning and growing and becoming. And so these are things we got to pay attention to. It says the number 4, the most dangerous addiction is the approval of other people. Are you addicted to the approval of others? Are you living a life because of what so and so is going to say, or who you're going to disappoint? Or when you change something, that means you're going to lose a friend. If you start saying no to someone, if you set up a boundary, that means that they're not going to like you anymore. Are you still doing what your parents told you to do? Are you still following what your spouse is telling? Like, are you addicted to the approval of others? Or have you turned and said, I'm going to live my life for me? Sure, that means I'm going to be able to surround myself with good people and be able to impact the world, all those things. And I'm not looking for someone else's approval to tell me I can do something or I should do something. You have to check yourself in these areas, ladies and gentlemen. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. I have this conversation a lot when I coach people financially. If you do something right a little bit, that old saying, if you give them an inch, they take a mile. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. Do you tolerate them constantly coming back and asking you things? Like, what do you tolerate? Do you tolerate people taking up your time? You can teach people how to treat you. It says your worth isn't tied to your productivity. Your worth isn't tied to productivity. You are not what you do. That is not you, right? That is what you do. Your value, your worth doesn't come by from how much you produce, how much you give, how much, like, that's not where your worth comes from. And if you can detach from those things, because sometimes we get stuck in that place of, I'm this worker, I'm this type of person. And that is why people like me, why they get around me, what they need me for. But your worth isn't tied to your productivity. You got to remember that. Remember, the reason why we're going through this is these are things that can change your thinking so that you can change your life. If you never change how you think about things, if you think about things the same way you thought about things 3 years ago, you will be the same person. If you think about things the same way you did 10 years ago, you will get the same results. This is a process of you saying, I don't really think that way. So if you change your thinking, you'll probably get a different outcome in this. Number 7 says, no is a complete sentence. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? About just saying no. Some of us, we say yes to too many things. We're committed to too many things. We're committed to too many people that are no longer serving you out of habit of just saying yes. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to justify your no's or anything like that. You can say no to people. You can set boundaries. It's important. Number 8 says the people who matter to you won't leave you for having boundaries. So once you do set these boundaries, if people actually mattered in your life, if they're the ones that are there with you, they're not going to leave you because you set up a boundary, because they probably have boundaries, because you're probably around good people. Now, if you're not, and people around you don't have boundaries, and then you set a boundary, it just says they might not be the people I need to be around. That's all. They might not be the people that I need to be around. Number 9 says the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. I think I had posted that on my Facebook one time. Somebody asked the question, like, what does that mean? But it basically just means, again, the thing you're scared of approaching, the thing you're scared to move into, the thing that the fear is holding you back from making the decision. The fear to enter that space holds everything that you want. Said another way, everything that you want is on the outside of your comfort zone. Everything you want in life. It does not matter. It doesn't matter, y'all. Everything you want, everything is on the other side of your comfort zone. So that cave that you fear to enter, it's actually where you need to go in order to get the treasure that you're looking for. I don't know what that looks like in your life, but I know that that's the case. You got to do the hard things all the time. You got to do the scary things all the time because that's what gets you the reward. It says here, reach out to people just because they cross your mind. It's important to building relationships. How good are you at building relationships? How much do you just reach out to people and check in on people? That's important. Vera Wang designed her first dress at age 40. It's never too late to start. If you have that mindset that it's too late, that I'm behind, that I can't make it happen, that's a Vera Wang example. Colonel Sanders sold his recipe when he was 72 years old. After 1,070 attempts, now we have KFC. He was 70 plus years old when he sold that off, when he sold his recipe, built KFC. It's never too late. Number 12 says, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Again, we're going after a life of peace, of joy, of happiness, of progression, of fulfillment, of all those things. If you do something that completely is taking away your peace, that's not going to help you get to the life that you want. It's too expensive. Number 13 says, discipline is choosing what you want to do most over what you want now. I just shared this with the team, but this is a great saying. Never give up what you want most for what you want now. Most people do this. Most people give up what they want most in life. What you want most might be freedom. It might be wealth. It might be, a spiritual connection. Like what you want most is the long-term vision. Most people give up what they want most for what they want now. Oh, I need the paycheck now. Oh, I need the security now. I need this now. But don't do that, right? Give yourself some disciplines to put in place to say, you know what? I'm going to go off and I'm going to get what I want most instead of what I just want now. 14 says action creates motivation, not the other way around. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. What's the other way around? Motivation creates action. That's how your brain may operate. Again, if you change your thinking, you change your life. Is your belief that once I'm motivated, I'll do work? Is that your belief? Once I get excited, once I get motivated, once the situation is right and mentally I'm good, then I will do action. If that's the thought, well, this is telling you you might need to change that thought because the opposite is true. It's when you do action, then you get more motivated. Motion creates emotion. You have to be in movement and in motion in order for things to happen. When you aren't in motion, you're not going to get motivated to do anything and you're going to stay in the same spot. So make sure that you take that in. It says, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. Important when you go down this journey of entrepreneurship. People are going to have their opinions of you. People are going to have their opinions of what you do, of where you go, of all the things. Always remember, don't take advice. Don't take criticism from people that you wouldn't take advice from, that aren't where you want to be, that aren't ahead of you doing other things that you would want to do. The criticism doesn't mean anything. Fear doesn't stop death. It stops life. Notice the people who bring out your favorite version of yourself and make sure you get around them. If that's someone like me, this is why you should be on these calls every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you get a little jolt of energy, if you feel a little boost of motivation, if you feel good after you get off these calls, this is why you should do more of that. This is why you should be around more. I always say, stay close to the fire. Stay close to the fire. If you get too far away from the fire and your life cools down, but you know where the fire is, get back close to the fire. The people that bring the best version out of you are the people you need to be around constantly. It says be addicted to your passions, not your distractions. It's real easy to get distracted on some things. If it's out of your control, it deserves to be out of your mind. We can only control what we can control, which is what? Your actions and your attitude. You can't control your boss. You can't control your job. You can't control your family. You can't control the traffic. You can't control the media. You can't control the president. You can't control anything outside of your own actions and your own emotions, your attitude. Most people struggle to control those two things. Those are the only two things you can control. And most people struggle to keep their emotions and their attitude in check. And they struggle to control their actions, what they do on a daily basis. So if you stop focusing on the external, stop focusing on the things you can't control, stop complaining about the things that are out there in the world that nothing's going to change by you just complaining about it. Focus on yourself, your actions and your attitude. Those are the things that should be top of mind for you, that you should be controlling, especially if you want to change your life. Number 20 says it's better to admit you walked through the wrong door than spend your life in the wrong room. It's a good one. It's better to admit that you walked through the wrong door than to spend your life in the wrong room. Once you know you've made some decision that probably doesn't serve you, change it. Don't stay there. Change it. You went the wrong direction, change it. You said you in the wrong relationship, change it. Like whatever it is, don't spend your whole life being like, oh, I stayed in the wrong place. I wish I would have made a different decision. That's not how we get to our ideal life. These were just 20 things that I came across, that came across my feed, that I was like, man, some of these I know will resonate, and we have to start thinking differently in order to get different results. So that's why these will change your life, is because if you now think differently about boundaries, if you think differently about your productivity, if you think differently about your peace or your discipline or fear, if you start thinking differently about it, you will get a different outcome. And that's what we're here to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to get a different outcome. Because again, it's too crowded down at the bottom. We got to get to the top of this thing. Life is it's going to throw you all of the curveballs. It's going to do all of the things that are going to knock you on your butt. And remember, it's not about how many times we get knocked down. It's about how many times we get back up. Life is going to be hard, but guess what? You can get stronger. And that's what we're here to do. If you want to go change your life, you got to get stronger mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. You have to get stronger to to have the capacity to handle the life that you're asking for. If you're asking for something up ahead, you got us to build the capacity in you to handle that thing. And that's what this process is. Do some spring cleaning, get some things out of your life that no longer serve you. Put some things in your life that you know maybe you need to fit back into, and start changing how we think, y'all. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. You got to go out there and do something today that scares you. Happy Memorial Day. If you're not at work, again, do something different. Do something that is going to push you out of your comfort zone, that your future self will thank you for. I'll see you back here on Wednesday. Take care, y'all.